right, guys, what's up? Welcome to 5.3, which we're going to be delving into the world of trig. Now, your question is, well, Coach Snow, this is geometry. Yes, I understand, but we're going to be using a little bit of trigonometry to help us out with geometry. So trig is a relationship between the sides and the angles to help us to figure out a side measurement on a right triangle. So we're going to be looking at something called the sine ratio today, okay? So let's jump into that. Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying all of this math that we're using in this is only able to use it with a right triangle, okay? Now, I cannot use the right angle, so I can use either one of the other two angles. So right now, if you look, I'm going to do the sine of A. So right now, I am only looking at angle A. So you see how it's circled, okay? So right now, I always know opposite of my 90-degree angle is always your hypotenuse. That's why it says hypotenuse, right? And now I'm going to look at the relationship from angle A. So if I draw an arrow from A to the opposite side of the triangle, that's going to be my opposite side, okay? And then this third side down here is going to be something called adjacent. Adjacent means right next to. So this is going to be my adjacent side, okay? But the thing is, the sine ratio is going to be known as opposite over hypotenuse, okay? And what I want you to do to remember this is I want you to remember the acronym SOH, S-O-H. So this means sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So S-O-H, sine opposite over hypotenuse. So we're going to take this information and we're going to put it in our examples and hopefully it'll make sense. But the main thing you need to know today is the sine ratio is opposite over hypotenuse. So let's put this into play. Okay, so right now on number 1, it's literally just wanting you to find the following sine ratios. So I literally just want you to write the ratio. That's all I want you to do. So the first thing it asks is I want to find the sine of A. So that means I'm looking at everything from angle A. I'm not looking at anything else differently, okay? So here we go. So I know to start off, opposite of my 90-degree angle is always your hypotenuse. It's always the hypotenuse. That's never going to change, okay? But now, if I go from angle A, the opposite of angle A is going to be the opposite side. So that means the third side that I've not labeled yet is going to be my adjacent side, okay? So now I know the sine ratio is SOH, S-O-H, is opposite over hypotenuse, correct? So sine of A is going to be the opposite over the hypotenuse. So I'm literally going to write the sine of A is 17 over 15. And I'm done. That is going to be your sine ratio. That's literally all it's asking for, okay? But now where things get changed up is now it's asking the sine of B. So I'm not looking from the lens of A anymore. I'm looking from angle B now, okay? So with that being said, I'm just going to kind of erase this real quick. So now we can do everything from B now, okay? So here we go. I'm going to use a different color if you need to. So here we go. I am now looking at everything from angle B here. The hypotenuse is always going to stay the same because it's always opposite of my right angle, right? Now looking from B, opposite side of my triangle is actually going to be 8. And then my adjacent side is going to be 15. So remember, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse. So my sine for B is going to be 8 over 17. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to help you whenever we end up solving for our equations here in a little bit, okay? Let's take that into account. So let's jump over to example number 2. I'm going to show you how to actually use this now, okay? Okay, so on example number 2, it says we need to find the value of x right now, okay? So right now if we look at this, I have a 90-degree angle, and I've only been given one side length, and an angle length. So I know with this information, I can actually use trig to find this. And so now we're going to go ahead and call this out real quick. So this is the angle they're giving me, right? So opposite of my 90-degree angle is always the hypotenuse. Opposite of the angle they gave me is going to be my opposite side, which makes this my adjacent side. So now we're just going to look at what's given. So look, I want you to circle this. They've given me my hypotenuse, and I need to find my opposite. So opposite hypotenuse, OH. Oh, that's sine, because I know SOHCAHTOA. So, S-O-H. So opposite and hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse. So this is how you're going to set this up, ladies and gentlemen. You are going to do the sine of the angle, would go in the parentheses, is going to be equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, so here we go. So how I'm going to write this out. So I'm going to write sine. My angle they gave me is 50, is going to be equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So I'm going to do the opposite over the hypotenuse. So the thing you guys need to understand right now is if I type the sine of 50 in the calculator, that's going to end up giving me a decimal. Okay, it's going to give me a number, which I know if I divide two numbers, it's normally going to give me a decimal whenever I divide two numbers from a fraction. So those are going to be equal to each other. So what we're going to do now is I got to get x by itself. So right now, x is being divided by 9. So I'm going to multiply by 9 on both sides. So times 9 and times 9. So that's going to get x by itself over there because the 9s are just going to cancel out. So now, literally in your calculator, you're going to type this either in your calculator that you have in class, or you can use the Desmos scientific calculator. It does the same thing. So here we go. I'm going to tell you how to do this in your calculator. So you're going to do 9 times, underneath the control button, you're going to press TRIG. There's a TRIG button right underneath the control button. So you're going to press TRIG. You're going to select SIN, which stands for sine. And you're going to put the number 50 in those parentheses. And whenever you click enter, it should end up giving you the value of x. So x is actually going to end up equaling 6.89. And that would be your answer for x. So we are using the trig ratio to find that x value. Okay? And that is how you use sine inside a right triangle. Okay? So let's take this over to example number 3 now. Okay, so I'm doing the same thing on this one. So right now I'm given a right triangle. I've been given one angle and one side length. So I know I can use one of the trig ratios, but we're looking at sine, so I know I'm using sine. So this is my angle. This is my hypotenuse. Now from the angle they gave me, this is going to be my opposite side. And this is going to be my adjacent side. So you notice this is the first thing I'm doing all these is labeling them, right? So I've been given my hypotenuse, or I need my hypotenuse, and I've been given my opposite side. So I know opposite and hypotenuse deals with sine, so I'm going to use the sine ratio. So here we go. So I'm going to do the sine of the angle they gave me is 30, and I'm going to set that equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse. So real quick, I could show you the math of how this works, but I'm going to show you a little shortcut. Anytime when you're using trig ratios and the x is on bottom, I want you to literally take what's on this side and the x value, and I want you to trade places with them. So this is going to turn into x is equal to 12 divided by the sine of 30. So in the calculator, you're literally just going to type that fraction right there. So I'm going to do 12 divided by, I'm going to press the trig button underneath the control and click sine, and I'm going to click 30 in for the parentheses. So x is going to end up equaling 24. So the value of x would then be 24. So this is how you use the sine ratio to now find the hypotenuse. Okay, let's jump over to the last example. All right, so lastly on example number 4, it's asking me to find the angle measurement. So anytime I have two side lengths, I technically can find the angle measurement by using trig. But earlier we were using trig to find the side lengths. So now I'm going to use the angles, or use the trig to find the angles here, okay? So look real quick. So right now, I need to find angle C right now, okay? So let's go ahead and label the sides right now from angle C. So I know this is my hypotenuse. I know this is my opposite side, and I know this is my adjacent side. But look, I've been given the hypotenuse, I've been given the opposite. I know opposite over hypotenuse is my sine ratio. Anytime that you need to find the angle measurement, you're going to use something called inverse. So anytime you need to find the angle, you're going to use something called inverse. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So right now in your calculator, you are going to find this symbol right now, sine raised to the -1 power. So right now if you go to TRIG, so underneath the control button there's a TRIG button, and you're going to go to where it says sine -1. And when you click enter, it's going to give you a set of parentheses. In those parentheses, you are going to type in the ratio. So right now, sine a -1 would be opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse, so 7/10. So I'm literally going to type in 7/10 in the calculator. And when I click enter, that is going to give you the measurement of angle C. So angle C actually equals 44.42 degrees. Ladies and gentlemen, that is how you find the angle measurement using TRIG. If you have any questions, hit me up on Schoology. If you have any questions as well in class, please ask the teacher. Other than that, good luck. Let me know if you need any help.